Well, hello there everyone, it's Diggs here. You may realise that this is my first video for Rome Total War, and I don't really play Rome Total War that much online. This is actually and truthfully my second ever game. The first game I played was a siege battle which took over 3 hours, and that was many years ago. I don't know why I've ever tried it since then, but I just haven't. So I decided to jump in because I was getting excited for Rome Total War 2, as I'm sure we all are. So I went back and did the usual thing of playing the predecessor, which is still vastly played across the board, really. We have many players that play it. This is a free-for-all, a 5-player free-for-all, with myself as Carthage. General rules going to be played now. We have one Gaul player. I can tell you that this is a scored resolution battle. I actually didn't pay attention to the rules and I thought it was a last man standing. But I've gone with 4 Sacred Band units, gold upgrade. I've gone with 2 slingers, gold attack, and I've gone with a 3 Sacred Band cav, gold, and 1 Iberian infantry, bronze. I was going to go with a 3rd slinger, but I just thought it would be best. In a free-for-all, I needed to go with the unit that was agile and could move and just really protect my flanks. That was the main thing I was looking at. I know I've put them behind, but when I can see who I'm facing, what I'm facing, and from what angle, then I can move around my units a little bit more. Just to give you a brief background, the only Total War game that I've play online really is Shogun 2. I have played Napoleon Total War a couple of times online, but I'm much more of an offline player for Total War games, but I'm looking to get into Rome Total War now a lot more as we find out more information in regards to Rome 2 Total War. Now here we go, I've set up my men to go for Gaul, and we've got Britannia over there led by Prince of Sparta. Don't know why he choose Britain and call himself Prince of Sparta. Never mind, probably the other way around. We have Satanus, from what I can see. Is that his name? Maybe pronounced it a little bit wrong, but he's Gaul. He's directly in front of me. I positioned myself to go around that way. We're having a brief discussion beforehand who's going to get double teamed. It looks the Gaul player might, but I'm very wary of this Britain army just simply because it has loads and loads. I think it's all chosen swordsmen and then 1 ranged unit. We have rebels, which is Boromir. See, I'm very close to Gaul, so I'm actually recording this. Well, I've recorded it live, but I'm commentating in the past simply because my commentating is pretty poor when I do it live. Many of you may agree, it may even be poor now. But this is a very long video, so sit back and relax. Don't think you're going anywhere. If you want to watch it to the end, there are a lot of twists and turns in this battle. For some players it's more straightforward than others, just simply because they die. Simply put. I'll try not to give anything away. Now I see the Britons charge. I saw them run. Not now, but they're looking to run. And I'm wary of both because Gaullers position themselves in both instances, one facing towards the Brutii, as far as I can see, and a section towards me, but it looks as though most of his forces are going towards the Brutii, and he sees me peeling off to deal with Britannia because he's running towards me, or he was running towards me. And he's moving most of his forces now. He's using this small contingent to just keep an eye on our battle, just to make sure that no one does any sneak attacks. You can see there's no chariots here for the Brits, which I think is fair enough. Chosen swordsman going full chosen swordsman. I'm guessing they're gold. That's been pretty good now. I'm all over the place at the moment. Just positioning some of my units. And yes, I haven't played this, so I'm forgetting to use spacebar to map my units and to see where they are. I'm going all by memory. Now, I want to essentially utilise my Sacred Band to put a flanking manoeuvre. I can just see Gaul just to the left moving, and I'm wondering if he wants to get involved in this battle because in hindsight, being a score resolution, you may want to pick a couple of enemies off as it goes. But my line is pretty split out, spread out. My Sacred Band line, which I realise it shouldn't be. With hindsight, the spacebar would help that. Now he's more or less, Prince of Sparta's clumped up into all the units. I'm pretty much spread out. I realise my slingers, again, I'm going to need to use my slingers here, and I look to move my cavalry to the extreme. I look to use an extreme right and also an extreme left as well, pushing forward my cavalry. I just want to give him something to think about while I reline my front line of my Sacred Band units. I've kept one Sacred Band unit back just in case. I can see they've got slingers as well, but obviously if he wants to go for a skirmish, I'm more than happy to oblige, simply because I have 2 gold upgraded slingers and he has 1. They're going to face towards me now, try and pick off some of my Sacred Band cavalry, which I'm more than happy for him to try and do. I'm going to look to pull back. And I can see some of his units are slightly out of alignment, so I'm going to try and play that, and I'm going to move my slingers up. I'm just going to do a hammer and anvil. I notice that I lose 7 units. I don't know how much he's lost, and he's moved his slingers. He's lost around about 3 or 4, which isn't really great for me. But I've noticed that he's left his slingers out. I've sent 1 cavalry unit to intercept the slingers. Completely missed the charge. And they'll attack now. Now he's left his slingers completely defenceless. My slingers are now going to go for his most forward unit, where I've taken some men off, only 5, whereas I've lost 7 of my Sacred Band, which is actually quite bad. And his slingers are now destroyed by my Sacred Band unit, by both of my Sacred Band units. Now I debate here to go for a hammer and anvil both ways, but I start to see him charge these guys. I hope my slingers would run a lot more quicker. And he stops his charge. For some reason he stops his charge. I get my Sacred Band back out there again for some hammer and anvil strikes.
This general is the perfect enemy. He does not stand but runs away.
And there you go, that is his general.
Any point in killing him?
And that's his general routing. My Sacred Band is coming back. Now you can see Gaul is just positioning 3 units away here. He knows I've got some cavalry in there. There's very little cavalry in this battle. I'm probably the one with the most cavalry, I think, anyway. I can't really see anybody else because it's live. If it was a replay, I would have been able to show you everyone's units. I'm going to go after his chosen swordsman. I have to pull my slingers back. And in come his chosen swordsman. I've lost. There you go. There's his general gone. I've lost 2 Sacred Band already. He's crashed 3 units in, and here comes my Iberians. Now they're not obviously that upgraded. I need to move my backup Sacred Band unit to back up the Sacred Band unit that's in trouble. I've lost 14 members, 15 now of there. That can't really be. I'm looking to go for just a general pincer movement, but his chosen swordsmen are looking to go after my slingers. They do a couple of hammer and anvil strikes on the back of his men. I noticed that I'm losing cavalry pretty quickly here, and my Iberians are routing. I noticed that the Iberians, that's what they were used for. I used the Iberian infantry just for that. And the Brutii general has just been killed. Yeah, these swordsmen are completely taking out all of my cav. Not even with hammer and anvil strikes am I getting away with it. I'm having to reposition my units now in order to face the onslaught. I'm trying not to run as and where I can. My slingers are still taking pops at his men. He's going to charge at them. Obviously, because it is squad resolution, he will be looking to take out every single one of my units. And my Iberians have stopped routing, and I want to get them away. My slingers I'm not really too worried about, because I know everyone's going to have some sort of upgrades to their units. I want to try and save my Iberians just simply because of the flank. And there's Gaul coming at me. He sees my my slingers. And it's the heavy cavalry coming through. And he charges straight into my sacred band. Oh, he just misses.
As enemies, these men are perfect. They are running from the battle in terror.
My sacred band away from that. I'm losing far too many mistakes. And Castor from the Brutii is inevitably given up. He's lost his general, and I think most of his men are routed. I'm trying to take out this heavy cavalry. I was going to say GG. So I haven't really lost too many men. In terms of my sacred band, not a lot at all. Slingers, they were routing, but I only lost 10 of those. It's the cavalry where I think I've lost most of them. And here I go in back for the strikes. I can't, so I decide to pull back. If they do pull back, I've highlighted them. Yeah, Castor's referring to the problem of the double team. It looks like he got double teamed by the rebels and also by Gaul as well. Now what I'm looking to do is drag my cavalry behind my sacred band. Not so that he can flank me, but so that I can turn around to attack him. And I think it'll be a little bit too late, to be honest with you. I'm looking to get my backup sacred band in there. But he pulls his heavy warlord cavalry away. I don't lose any sacred band that he's charged into, whereas he's lost quite a lot of his cavalry in there. My slingers are still running away, but I don't really want them to chase them. I'd rather leave them there because I have to deal with Gaul at the moment. I'd rather let them chase my slingers to the ends of the earth. Gaul is now going to reform. He's going to reform his line back. And wow, look at that. My slingers all the way back there. I can take little pops at his warband over there, over his slingers. Now I haven't lost any of this unit, and I'm going to try and do a little manoeuvre around so I can bring them back round. But I forgot to take them off fire at will, and my slingers are being more or less destroyed by his ones. He's lost one. Sorry, they're not slingers, they're archers. Even though his aren't in any loose formation whatsoever. Here's the cavalry of his heavy cavalry that's left, and now Gaul are going to march up against the rebels, which are led by Boromir. And we have some of the Brutii back here. So now basically Britain, as far as I can see, are completely out of the equation. I don't really need to focus on them until my slingers run back, which they will do shortly. He's only got 10, 23 and 18 left, so I reckon I can take those on if I can get a nice pincer movement going, but I'll try and work on that at the moment. I'm quite wary of Gaul, just simply because I want to attack Gaul while the rebels are going towards him as well. He has the rocks there to protect him, to protect various flanks, so I need to be careful, but then I also need to use those. And I kind of want to take him. I think Boromir has completely forgotten about this guy, and I would love to take him out. Now they're looking to reform the line. As you can see, he's done so with another half of his army over here. He's only got 3 heavy cavalry left, with his general there as one of them, so hey, you know, could have got his general, but I didn't. It'd be nice if I did. So as you can see, I've lost quite a bit of my cavalry there, with only 15, 16 and 9 left. 2 slingers, they're going to die. I basically left them to die. I should have pulled them back, knowing it was a scored resolution. I should have definitely pulled them back. But here come the rest of my other slingers, here against these chosen swordsmen. Now I've decided to take a couple of pot shots at him, because I know I am gold upgraded, so I should be able to do some form of damage. Even though I don't. The thing is, I wait for the reload, and then I realise he's charged, and I think, hang on a minute, this is too late. He's going to catch me. And then my slingers decide to run the other way, because they're obviously on fire at will. Which means I'm just completely lost the initiative there of going back. So now they're going to run back. I'm not worried about the swordsman anymore. I'm now just waiting for Boromir to reform his lines. I don't want to be taking the brunt of this. Now, Saturnus does what many would think to be a bit of a foolish move in by clumping his groups together, clumping the units together, and essentially fighting back to back with them. However, it can be pretty good because of those rocks there. There's no one that can... You can't really do anything with that. You can't sort of outflank. The only way you can outflank is to my left or to his right. So I'm going to move my units forward now in anticipation of Boromir going after the back of Sitanus. Obviously, Sitanus' front to Boromir's front. As you see, my cavalry is fairly depleted. I want to make sure that there is no other cavalry left in this game that can contest against mine. Now, obviously, for Sitanus, there's only 3 of his warlords left. I notice a unit of foresters just down there. I notice some chariots down here, which could actually cause me quite a few problems, because I absolutely hate chariots. I can't seem to use them, yet they always seem to be brilliant against me. He's still chasing my units. I'm more than happy for Prince of Sparta to chase my units. He's thinking that, you know, if he keeps chasing, then, you know, he can kill my units, and then when me, Boromir and Sitanus fight, he'll be able to pick up the pieces left with his chosen swordsman. So for him, some people are thinking, wow, you know, why is he just chasing a couple of slingers? Well, you know, 40 slingers plus some of my cav and sacred band and obviously Iberian infantry, it all adds up, and I think that that's what he's thinking at the moment. He's looking to make sure that every single person he gets counts, and obviously I'm worried about last man standing and him not having the chance to take out more of my army. Now I'm going to look to try and not do a sneak attack, but because I know Boromir's slightly engaged at the moment and looking to reform his lines, and I do notice the foresters are taking down this cav, so I want to be the one to take them out. Obviously, I'm at this stage right now where I'm thinking, is this score resolution or is this last man standing? So at the moment I think I'm looking to take down everything that I can, within good reason. See, here's my slingers. Just by the line, we've literally just done a full loop, and I want to make sure they run back towards me, so I have some sort of slingers in there. Now I'm moving my lines forward, and those missiles are going at my cav at the moment. There they are. I'm going to charge at him to give Sitanus something to think about, because what I don't want him to do is sit there, fight against Boromir, and then for me to wait and, you know, not trouble him at all. And here comes Boromir. Sorry about the lag. And there goes down Boromir's cavalry fairly easily. You can see no charge or anything like that. Now this is where my attention is going to lie, and he shoots down one of my cavalry right there, right in front of the eyes. Now I'm just waiting for these 2 units to charge, making sure they're not looking to charge, and I'm going to pull this unit out, and we're pulling the units out, Now my slingers here are routing, because they've been caught, despite me telling them to run the other way. They're officially gone, so I've lost the slingers. I've lost both sets of slingers. I'm going to run back to my cav, and oh, fine that I didn't double click. So now I really only have 1 unit of cav, the other one's only got 2 units in there. So I've lost a unit of sacred band, lost both of my slingers and more or less my Iberian infantry as well. Mostly down to silly mistakes. I wouldn't even argue it's down to poor, you know, not being able to multitask. It's silly mistakes. So we're around about halfway through the battle now. We've had 2 players, well, we've had 1 player eliminated. The Britannia faction more or less right at the edge of the map. And now the rebels are looking to move to Gaul and knocking at their front gate. Metaphorical sense, we're not playing a siege battle. Here we can have a look at the battle just a little bit. And it looks as though Gaul is doing quite well in this. Sitanus is playing a very, very good barbarian game. Can't really find any fault to it. Now obviously I'm going up this hill. I need to make sure that I'm getting up this hill very, very quickly. And obviously doing that in phalanx formation isn't probably the best way to do it, but I need to make sure that my units are fairly spread out and they're not just sort of clumped up together. And I think he did I personally think that Satanas did a mistake here in looking to retreat and giving me the option to go up this hill. And we're I'm trying to do a pincer movement, but it's just not working at the moment.
Infantry. Infantry. Infantry.
I'm looking to move my men firmly up the hill, and looking to do this with some sort of method to it. There has to be method in this, and I'm always trying to keep an eye on the Britannia faction behind me, just looking at my mini-map and looking to see if they're running or not. This is purely because I don't want them hitting me in the back. So this is me sitting here thinking, oh, should I go take on Gaul? Should I go take on Gaul? What happens if the swordsmen choose to run? Well, if they choose to run, they'll be exhausted by the time they get here. So this is me just taking a general scope of the situation. Satanas is trying to move his men up that hill directly in front of us, not up the hill where I am, but up the hill further throughout the map. And Satanas is noting that he thought that Britain was out of the game, but I think he realised that I've left him now, simply because he's just too far for me to go out there and... And me just telling Satanas that I just can't be bothered to run that far to chase him. It's just not what I want to do. I'd be more than happy to take on this fight and look to get as many kills as possible. Although many would argue the safer option is going and finishing off the Britons. They're looking to run now. This is me trying to use the rocks here to try and outflank them. What I don't want to do is go in head on and Gaul, and then all of a sudden the rebels think, oh, hang on a minute, I'll have some of this too. And obviously Satanas is trying to get his army back together again to some sort of cohesive line, and so am I. I'm going to look to try and move my units within this kind of rocks. I need to keep my flank secure because I've only got 2 sets of cav now. I know that the other 2 guys don't have any cav whatsoever, apart from 1 unit of chariots. There's nothing really left. These gladiators really proved a tricky business for me, you know, trying to hit them and hammer anvil and even get them, get Gaul to stay still. Especially when the rebels are going for him. Now Gaul has positioned himself extremely well. If you look at this before, how Satanas was the man in the middle, now the rebels are the man in the middle. And I think Boromir understands now that with my units coming through, he's going to have a very, very difficult time. He's going to have to choose whether to go for Gaul and essentially use his hoplites to take down all of the warbands that Satanas has got. Now these skirmishers will take little pot shots at him, which is fair enough, and I'm going to look to try and move a little bit quicker now, only because I need to make sure that one of them dies, and I mean dies as in completely routes from the map, because this is the only way how I'm going to win this. And also I need to make sure that I hurry up, because I don't want to be in the middle of a sandwich fighting the rebels, with the Gaul fighting the rebels, and then with the Brits coming up behind me. That's not what I want. So really, most of my troubles will stem from keeping the Brits alive. But with the Gauls moving around, I could choose 2 things: to go up the hill to my right and move around with them. So essentially the Brits will be up against the Gauls, with the rebels in the middle, essentially having a Gaul and rebel sandwich. Now this is me trying to just take a few kills here, getting my phalanx into shape, but also sending my cav. Now the Gaul Satanas has to make a choice. He has to make a choice whether he, saves this unit or whether he goes for them and just lets them die. I can't remember what happens I think he tries to save them. Now I've routed his units, and I'm just looking to pull out as fast as I can. I'm literally just looking for hammer and anvil. I'm trying to get Gaul to fight the rebels, and the only way to do that is for him to try and protect that unit there, which is simply the rationale for my decision. Leaving those units completely unharmed, sorry, not unharmed, undefended, was a mistake on Satanus' part, and I think he understands that now. But what I wanted to do is trying to egg his men forward to look to protect that unit. There you go, he's lost the warlord unit. He's looked to try and protect that unit, and in doing so moving his units, moving his warbands forward towards the rebels. But that didn't really happen. He was too clever for that. He tried to move his warlords around, and by then my men had, my Sacred Band cavalry had scattered. Here's some little gladiators. Gaul's looking to go up the hill here. Now, what I'm realising is that instead of being on the predator side, I could become the prey, because the Brits, as you can see on the minimap, are coming closer and closer and closer towards me. I need to make sure. This is the point where I decide, right, I can see them now. They're in my direct vicinity, and they're not that far away. I don't know if Prince of Sparta is looking to walk his men, or he's running them, walking them, running them, walking, because by the time they come over here, and if they are running, they're going to be very exhausted. I think at one point here, I think you have Boromir telling Satanus to fight. You know, the gladiators, Samnite gladiators are brilliant. You know, they really stood down well in this fight anyway. And there's another unit of Forester and skirmishers just sitting there doing nothing. I really should have moved forward. Now this is where I take the decision to really press forward here. I've got to make sure that those units are in a position where I can attack them. There can be no fallback for the rebels. And the rebels are looking to make sure there's no fallback for the Gauls anymore. Some people say I should have turned back to go to the Brits, but I don't want the rebels and the Gauls doing a pact with the rebels turning around and running after me, and same as the Gauls. This is where the fight's going to happen now. There is nowhere for Satanus to run. He's right at the end of the map, and I'm going to look to see, well, he's going to run back a little bit more, which, to the annoyance of the rebels, annoyance of Boromir. Boromir got really frustrated in this game, and we'll see comments come out sooner or later. And this is where I just decide to run. I've had enough. I need to make sure, because the Brits are getting closer and closer, and I can't afford to waste time anymore. I've got to now push Boromir to get rid of his phalanx like I have just now and run at Gaul. He has to run at Gaul, because I will not be in a position where I'm in the sandwich with the rebels facing the Brits on one side and the Gaul on the other. I'm not going to be there. I've moved my cavalry now to the left flank, to try and take out these straggling units. I've gone back into phalanx formation just so I can run my, just in case if I need to, I can run my cav back. I've put my Iberian infantry to my right, and now Satanus will look to move around some of his units, and there you go. I'm going to go after his, and there you go. There's Boromir's Gaul, stop being a bitch. I'm going to run my Sacred Band back. Gonna smack into the side of his warband and route that unit too. There's the Forester warband. Okay, I'm going to look to run all the way back and look to do another hammer and anvil strike. You can see the Brits just closing in now. I want to get out of that. I've only lost one, well, I lost 2 Sacred Band in that fight, but I need to make sure that I'm getting out of those type of fights. He's got a lot of warbands. So I'm fighting, I'm skirmishing here. I'm realising this is going to be very close. And I smashed his, and he actually stops charging, which is where I get the rout on his men. Now Gaul's really fighting quite less. Now I realise in hindsight I shouldn't have done this. I kind of pulled my men out and I lost 4 Sacred Bands just in one unit alone, and a couple in the other one as well. I shouldn't have done that, just to take out a few of his warbands. Just wasn't right, but I'm trying to force the issue here, because the Gaul's now moving round to the left now, which means that I'm in the middle. Of course, if the rebels choose to attack me, Now I'm in the position here. Do I go for the rebels and get flanked by the Gauls? As you can see, my line is nice and wide, trying to scope in both of the enemies just in case if I'm attacked. I can see those 3 chariots, which is why I move my cavalry back to the right. Now I've decided to reposition my units to take that hilly spot. I do not want to be in the middle of this because they could come on either of my flanks with rebels in one and the Gaul at the other flank. I'm now running my units, running my cav into position to make sure that he knows I will flank him and he needs to reposition. This is going to be quite a dangerous triple threat match. Sorry, and I think he's going to reposition his phalanx based on where my cav is at. Whereas the Gaul are going to go for him. So now Suetonius has played this battle really, really well. Instead of him now being the prey, he's moved all the way around and now the rebels are. I'm going to move my units forward, essentially use 2 of my Sacred Band units to cover the rebels' hoplites, and my other two Sacred Band units to cover the Gauls. Now I'm going to charge his gladiators, which was a complete mistake, as you'll see. Losing a unit on the charge straight away. I'm going to try and pull my units out here. They only took 1 casualty, which is pretty poor. Here comes my Iberian infantry. This is essentially what they're going to be used for. This is what I envision them to be used for. I don't want the gladiators smashing into the side of my Sacred Band. Here come the chariots. I don't want them mucking about. My Iberian infantry will hold to a certain extent. In come the chariots, and I want them to die pretty quickly. Obviously, I don't want any pikes. Gaul are charging straight into the back. I've killed the chariots, and now my units are going after his warlord. I want to take that. I think it's only 1 or is it 2? I can't really tell. But what I don't want to do is expose my flanks. So I'm going to pull my cav units back and my Iberian infantry. I've got 1 cav chasing him. I don't know what I was doing there with that unit. I'm moving my Sacred Band unit back. My main cav that's left, I've only got 5 left of those, are now still in a fight. That's poor micro for me. 4 left, they've routed. That was poor for me. And obviously my Sacred Band now are going to be under attack. I need to move them away. This is where it comes a little bit sloppy for me here. I charged my Sacred Band straight in, and I know they're going to die. I've used them literally just to give my phalanx, my Sacred Band, just enough time to turn around. I realise that the Gaul could charge into my side at any moment now, but I have no choice. That 1 Sacred Band unit is being used for a backup because of the Brits, but then I realised I need to plug the gap. So he's come back with a few units. The Gaul player Suetonius has played this game extremely well, and I think I definitely give him the man of the match for this game. He really did well with this. The Brits player is now coming back towards me. Obviously we've been moving further and further to the right of the map. He's now finally making his way there. I'm essentially waiting for him to engage. I'm sure he doesn't want me to engage him. I'm completely gold. With the amount of units that he had, I'm sure he wasn't gold. And here come the Samnite gladiators from Boromir. Well, I have just enough time to turn them around. I spotted that one just in time, and he's going to try and rally his units now that are routing, because he doesn't want to lose those as part of the squad resolution. The Samnite gladiators are now dead, and I can focus on Gaul before the Brits come. Boromir left the game. So yeah, I was quite surprised how kind of what I was doing. I realised that I do have Sacred Band units and things like that, so I wasn't too surprised how well it was going. But I didn't expect to have such a massive influence on the map. I thought I'd probably be one of the first to go. considering that I haven't really played this game at all. It's my second match on Rome Total War Online at all. So here I go. I'm trying to take on Gaul now, but he just keeps running away. So Satanas is essentially waiting for Prince of Sparta with his chosen swordsman to come at the back, and he'll look to charge me. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting one of my units out of phalanx formation to charge, but I realise it's the wrong thing to do because they're getting caught up in my actual original phalanx. Now he tries to cross one of his units, and he's going to run them. So I just put them back into phalanx again, looking to utilise a different slot. I will be able to do this. My Sacred Band units are extremely quick. And I'm looking to essentially take them out of phalanx, run, and just before that happens, just put them back into phalanx again. So I'm going to split them up just a little bit. And as they do, collectively group them in. They've just chased them, and they've routed one unit. Now I essentially put them into phalanx for defence. What I don't know is that he's got upgrades on his units, and I don't want those kind of swordsmen to take out my phalanx. I want to make sure that these guys are defensively sound. I don't want to lose any more units. I've lost 3 lots of cavalry, 2 lots of slingers, and now an Iberian infantry. I've got around about 60, 80, something around the lines for about 140 people. Now I'm also having a pop here at Satanas because he keeps running away, and obviously it's fair. All is fair in this kind of stuff. If he wants to run away and play tactically, he will do. He's going to try and charge his foresters in there, trying to get 1 kill at this moment in time. I think he's thinking score resolution, 1 kill counts. I'm going to essentially group up my men to defend. It's a little bit messy at the moment, but it will be. And the best thing, actually, what happens, Prince of Sparta plays it fantastically for me, because their chosen swordsman, his warband, really shouldn't have anything on them. And it does me a favour. With the Gaul person running away, he's put himself right into the warpath of the Brit player. And ideally there, he does rack up those kills that may potentially win him the game. As you'll see, spoilers.
Enemy cowards, run! Drive them from the battlefield!
So now here's me. So he's obviously going to try and chase all of these units down. He's not going to wait for anything. He wants every single kill. Whereas obviously I failed to do that. This is me essentially doubling up my units. I need to make sure there are no gaps. I don't think 1 cavalry is going to be enough to take down a sufficient number of units, so I essentially look to face his main warbands that are left. And in the end, I mean, because of all this, my Sacred Band units have walked most of the game. His units are shaken. My units are generally fresh, which is why I think I can afford to do this. Whereas units are shaken and pretty much exhausted. You can see my guys are eager and fresh to go. I'm going to wait until he charges into me, put my backlot in phalanx formation, and now back into phalanx formation as well. Now I need to make sure that the other Sacred Band units cover the flank, the left flank, and he runs away again. It does get frustrating, but because I'm so close to him now, I can charge on him when I get out of my phalanx position. There's just 1 unit of lone cavalry, and I managed to get him. I hit him in the back, but then he managed to turn around pretty quickly, get my back units back into phalanx formation, and this should finish them off now. There you go, that unit more or less finished off with 1 person. I need to make sure I don't lose any more Sacred Bands though. kills. And here's essentially where I say GG, which for me was completely took me by surprise in the start of this battle. I thought, wow, I'm going to be one of the first peoples out. And Satanus requests me to fast forward the game because he's going to run his unit out. But anyway, it was an absolute fantastic game. It was a pleasure to play Rome Total War online just for my second time, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I can't wait for Rome 2 Total War now. It's going to be fantastic. Or they're saying Rome Total War 2. But yeah, my first free-for-all, I've seen loads of players like Prince of Macedon play free-for-all, and they're actually really, really fun. They're very tactical. And I mean, I think you'll see a lot more videos from me coming from Rome Total War. It's a series that I always love to play offline, love the campaign, love the story, love the history behind it. And because I was reading the history of Hannibal, one of the books regarding his history and his storyline, essentially prompted me to play as Carthage and use the sacred bands in a way that they'd not die. But Satanus says one to save. Definitely this is a fight that, you know, he played extremely well in, you know, all credit to him. It was a fantastic game from the Gaul player. He was brilliant. And, you know, for me to have 4 units standing, you know, roughly more or less full, great for me. I do understand they are sacred band units, but it's all about how you use them, who you're playing against, and what happens in the situation. We've got a couple of minutes left in the video, which is basically just looking to see the scores at the end and looking to see when the final Brit player leaves the map, which will be in around about a few seconds. But you'll see in the end, I'm just going to ruin it, does turn out to be a scored resolution battle, not a last man standing. If it was, I would have won by miles. I thought I should have come second, but there's something to do with the calculations there showing me that I come third. But I do rack up the second most kills, have the most men remaining, with the least men deployed. So, well, sorry, the second least men deployed. And I really do think that I was worthy of a win here. In terms of a win, well, a mental win, one for the archives. Anyway, I've been Diggs. Thank you very much for watching this battle in Rome Total War. I hope to make some more for you.